Friends, in the beginning, God made the world, and it was good. And he made man, and man was good. But I don't remember hearing anything about God making barons, knights, and lawyers on the morning of the seventh day, and serfs in the afternoon. The only difference I ever heard of was that some of us are women, for which, much thanks. No. When Adam delved and Eve span, who was then the gentleman? God made the fields and the trees, but he didn't say, I make this field for Lord Muck, and I make that tree for his lady wife. As far as God was concerned, everything was held for everybody. For hundreds of years we have paid taxes. And what have we got out of them? Only an iron glove in the gut. Now I ask you, who said, whose law is it?
The time, 1381. The place, England. The man, John Ball, preacher, whom some called mad.
Look, you are very, very much a dog.
You are going to curse the day you were born, boy.
I have already, many times.
I think maybe you need a little learning.
First, a little correction. Here, Jack, here. The law says you're not free to come and go as you please. And the law says more. The law says you own nothing but your own stomach.
Medieval society was divided into two classes, the free and the unfree. By far the larger part of the society was the unfree, a class known as serfs. They were the personal property of their lords, and it is said they owned nothing but their stomachs. In the Middle Ages, a man's wealth was determined by the measure of land he owned. His rights were determined by his status, and his status was determined by his birth. There was no escape.
My friends, God helps those who help themselves. Unless we bring God's law into our land, we will be ruled by devils. We, the true commons, must make God's law. We build the castles, but who looks out of the windows? We pick the grapes, but who drinks the wine? This is our land, and we must take it. We must build a great society where men are born free, live free, work for whom they will, where they will, free of humiliation, free of poverty, free of forced labor, free of the rich.
The late 14th century was a time when great issues were being debated, great ideals cherished. The feudal system showed signs of strain. In 1381, the English peasants challenged the existing order in what was to become the first collision between capital and labor. A peasants' revolt was detonated by the imposition of a poll tax. In this instance, a tax of 1 shilling levied on the entire population over the age of 15, beggars excepted. For the rich, a shilling was a mere trifle. For the peasant, it represented as much as a month's earnings.
Work harder.
It's more than we can afford. It's as much as we earn in a month.
Indeed. You look fat enough. Maybe I could boil you down and sell you a soap if you don't pay up. Truly, I've not seen the likes of you before. Nor of you, little girl. Come here, girl.
Let her go.
Let her alone. Aye. There are those present who wouldn't and don't, I'm sure. Such beauty cannot go unnoticed, undetected, unmolested. Am I alone to leave her untouched, unnoticed? Not only do I want
Let
to...
her go. Stop that.
Who speaks?
Her father?
So, a serf commands me to let her go. You will pay twice, I think. You will pay the poll tax and you will pay for your insolence.
Let her go.
First, give me your money. Secondly, smile. You are too grudging. That's better.
Yes. Yes. Yes!
Oh!
Pass the word! Go to Tyler! Tell him we are ready!
In the late Middle Ages, England had a reputation throughout Europe for extremism in the conduct of its government. A tedious and expensive war with France had made the ordinary Englishman hostile towards authority. Certainly, when the tax commissioners were assaulted, centuries of bitterness welled up and overflowed. The preacher, John Ball, was radical, subversive.
And God shall wipe away their tears, and there shall be no more death, neither weeping nor pain, for the former times have passed away.
But the man who led the rebellion was Wat Tyler, formerly a soldier. His first act was to destroy court records wherever he found them, in the manors, in the abbeys.
Let me show you how to repeal a law or two. I want every document in this building.
Now hear this! Let might help right! Let the people speak!
The peasants marched to London. They wanted the king to hear their plea. The king was Richard II, and in 1381 he was only 14 years old. But king he certainly was. To the peasants, he was a personification of justice. He was, they believed, the divine instrument of God's will. They acknowledged his absolute authority and his alone. Tyler asked to see him in person.
What did he say? You know what'll happen if he doesn't come, don't you?
I can guess.
Your family, that's what.
He'll have to come. There are so many of us.
That's too many.
The king was popular with the peasants, but his councillors were anything but. To be born a serf was, the church taught, the price of original sin. And the church, which owned a third of the country's land, maintained, yes, all men were free and equal before God, but only before God. Not before the nobility, not before the manor courts. The peasants wanted to change these ideas dramatically. Only the king could authorize it. And they believed he would, if he was allowed to.
Here they come. Keep it simple, Wat. To the point. There they are. Say something, Richard.
They won't hear me. We're too far away. Order them to get closer.
I don't advise it. I really don't. Now! Now's your chance, now!
Sirs? Sirs! Can you hear me?
He's saying something. Louder, Your Majesty! Much louder!
What is it you want?
I thought that was pretty obvious. They want our heads. Now they've seen us, let's go.
Come ashore! Come ashore! Come ashore! Come ashore! Come ashore! Come ashore!
I want a word with the Archbishop.
I can see that hypocrite bull there. Oh, yes. He would be there.
First, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want to say. Is there anything we have in common?
You are the Commons! You have the Commons!
I think they're rather touching. Let's meet them.
It's out of the question. We cannot go ashore. Categorically not. Who knows what might happen?
I think you know, don't you?
But I am your Chancellor, Your Majesty.
And I am their king!
Come ashore, all of you!
It's not my clothes that smell. It's me.
Come ashore! Come ashore! Come ashore!
Take time, Richard. They're a rabble. They brought nothing with them. They have no food. Therefore, let them go. You make the laws. You can break them. Your privilege.
Let's go back, Your Majesty. I will be late for Vespers.
The meeting had been a dismal failure. The peasants had not expected such an early disappointment.
Now's our chance. They're leaving! Come on, shoot them down! No! No! We can't risk killing a king. We need a constitution, true our constitution, but we still need a king. You let him go for the time being.
What? You will be our king, and I your archbishop.
The rebellion had been impulsive, spontaneous. Tyler was not in command of an organized army and was getting impatient.
May you tell the king we have a meeting tomorrow at Mile End. I'll be there, that's a promise. Word of a gentleman. But if he doesn't come in person, I'll burn London. Simple. Word of a gentleman.
The next day, Tyler and the king were to meet face to face. The king's advisors had no plan other than to play for time. They therefore advised the king to deal with the peasants in a manner that was both conciliatory and deceitful. The king was, after all, the only weapon the council possessed. They made sure he did all the talking. The peasants were in a position of power, but they were not yet in control.
Tyler?
Majesty.
Tell me. What must we do? What do you want from us? We must preserve the peace, don't you think? Do you have a formula?
Yes.
Tell me.
We want the abolition of serfdom throughout our kingdom. No more discrimination, no more stigma.
I understand. Next.
Well, serfs no longer being serfs, they will be free tenants. We will pay an annual 4p an acre for our holdings.
4p per acre.
Yes. We want an end to all restrictions on buying and selling. We want to smash the monopolies on beer and bread, for instance.
Is there more?
Well, there have, of course, been a number of incidents over the last few days. Absolutely justifiable, of course. Perhaps we could reach an agreement about a general amnesty.
We need clerks. They are to write charters.
20.
30.
What about the wording?
Your Majesty, we have something already prepared.
Oh, yes.
Know that by our special grace we have manumitted.
That means freed.
I know what it means! I'm not stupid!
All our liege and singular subjects and others of the country, wherever they may be, freed each and all of their old bondage, made them quit by these presents, pardon them of all felonies, treasons and transgressions and extortions committed by any and all of them, and assure them of our summa pax. For your information, highest peace.
I like it. Well, that should do the trick.
One more thing.
More?
We want to bring all traitors to yourself.
For what purpose?
We want to execute them.
Who are they?
They're... Your Majesty, they've betrayed you.
Yes.
We have a list. They're enemies of the people.
If it can be proved that they are traitors, then they will be arrested and punished by law.
I repeat, they are enemies of the people.
As Tyler spoke, the executions had already commenced. In particular, the peasants required the death of the Archbishop, Simon Sudbury.
God, Victor. Punctuality is the pride of princes. Omne sancti, orati pro nobis.
There he is! Get him!
Pray for us.
Sudbury! You're a traitor and an embezzler.
I am the Archbishop, and I am Chancellor of England.
Exactly.
By whose authority do you come here?
By the authority of John Bull, and we have the King's authority.
Nonsense.
Take him, and the others.
No violence, please. Not here. Anywhere else.
Friends, we have today A great opportunity if we care to take it. We can cast off the yoke we have borne so long and gain the freedom we have always desired. Therefore, be of good courage. Be like the wise husbandman of the scriptures who gathered the wheat into his barn but uprooted and burned the tares that had half choked the good grain. The tares of England are the oppressive rulers, and the time of harvest is here and now. A time to pluck up and burn them all, the evil lords, the unjust judges, the lawyers, all men dangerous to the common good. Only then shall we have peace in the present and security in the future. For when the great ones are cast down, all men will enjoy equal freedom. All men will be of the same rank, nobility, and power.
The King's Council was in a state of panic. If the peasants' demands were implemented, nothing would be left either of or for the establishment. If they killed Tyler, therefore, they had nothing to lose, because if he lived, all would be lost.
I want to see the Tyler. Make all the necessary arrangements.
Good afternoon, Your Majesty. Won't you shake hands? We are comrades, you and I.
Your people are still here, Tyler. They have their charters. Now they must go home.
Your Majesty, charters are not all they want.
You demand more.
All church lands are to be taken and divided among the people. No one's above the law. No one. Understood? All game laws be revoked, and I repeat my former claims.
It is hardly necessary.
Then we are agreed. To hell with that. Let's have some real stuff. Some ale. You and I ought to celebrate. You shall keep your 15th.
Tyler, you're a thief and a robber.
Who said that?
You're a lout, Tyler, an ignorant lout.
You said that again, I'll have your head.
You're a pig-faced lout, Tyler, and a cheat and a liar.
Come here! You would presume to dispense justice before the king, Tyler?
Everyone in Kent knows that you're just a jumped-up yokel.
Fight with me! Fight for me! I am your king! Your leader, the Tyler, is dead! Follow me! I am the true leader of the true commons! Fight with me! Fight for me! Your leader, the Tyler, is dead! I am your king! Follow me! My cause is your cause! Your cause, my cause!
The king's plea dumbfounded the peasants. Only 10 days after the revolt had first started, their leader was lost. And without him, so was their challenge. Dispirited, they returned home.
Now, by your actions, Jack, your body has foregone the privilege of a resting place. So what remains of great Jack Straw? His soul? And what of his soul? Surely it is eternally damned and without solace? That is perhaps a little hard. Now, I'm prepared to make you an offer entirely to your own advantage. You listening, Jack? In exchange for a confession, we will give your soul a little care.
The peasants' leaders were not likely to be forgiven. They were rounded up, tortured, and then executed. Shortly before being torn limb from limb, Jack Straw confessed.
Jack, you are going to die.
You have broken my hands, and much else. How then will I sign?
Oh, we can fix that in a jiffy. We have a clerk. Now, Jack, in your own words, tell us.
At Blackheath, we decided to summon the king and put to death all the knights and their lackeys.
Retainers.
All the gentlefolk who were with him.
And then?
Take the king.
Where?
From place to place. Show him to the people, so they would believe he led the rebellion.
Is that supposed to be funny? You can't be serious.
And then, seriously, to kill all the lords, and then the king, and all the landowners, the bishops, the monks, rectors.
And who, pray, was going to celebrate the masses?
The friars.
That's most interesting. Do go on.
And then, when there was no one greater, or stronger, or wiser than we were, we would make laws that all men would respect. Create our own kings. But Tyler was assassinated.
Slain, not assassinated. It was hardly assassination. Well, Jack, that should do very well. Very well indeed, thank you. Let's finish it, shall we? These were our intentions, and may God help my departure from this life. Signed, Jack Straw. Well, Jack, that is about it. Time to pass you on to the next life, where I hope you will have better fortune, though I doubt it. Call the priest.
The peasants' revolt of 1381 solved little. The revolutionary ideology had little effect because its supporters had no real political power. The feudal system slowly disintegrated during the 15th and 16th centuries as feudalism gave way to systems of trade and commerce. During the Middle Ages, basic human rights were denied to the majority of the people. In the centuries that followed, Western civilization claimed back most of them. The democratic process replaced the feudal system. And today, it would seem that it is the minorities, rather than the majorities, who cry out against the iron glove in the gut.
and the sun played a major role in preparing the Golden State for the dramatic part it will play in this century of the Pacific. It began gold in '49. Gold that built San Francisco, the magic city by the Golden Gate, and started all California roaring on its way to greatness. The sleepy era of the Spanish mission slipped into history, along with the gold rush. Outsiders think of California as a lazy state, a place to play. But it was not all play to Californians. They were building. Building with pride in their accomplishments and with confidence in their future. These Californians were ready for the demands of the greatest war in history. And now they have rolled up their sleeves, ready to meet the demands of the greatest migration in the nation's history. Almost 4 million new residents have crowded across our borders in the past decade, seeking a home and a future under the sun in the Golden State. But finding that ideal little home under the sun was even more difficult than securing the future. The housing problem kept the experts awake at night until that old friend of the Chamber of Commerce, the California Sunshine, intervened. The Chamber of Commerce breathed a sigh of relief as the building trades raced to meet the demand. Hospitals and all public institutions have felt the terrific impact of this tidal wave of humanity. Almost 1 million new students have had to be accommodated in schools already seriously overcrowded. A new schoolroom a day will have to be added for the next 10 years to meet the demand. With this increased population has come the natural fear of unemployment. But big business, realizing that population, production, and sales go together, is moving west with the migration, moving west with faith in this dawning century of the Pacific. The factory smokestacks of the giants of United States industry are as familiar to San Franciscans and Angelenos as they are to the citizens of Chicago, Detroit, and Pittsburgh. Heavy steel moved west, giving California its own basic and thoroughly integrated steel industry. The giant coke ovens of the sprawling Kaiser steel mills supply the fuel for one of the world's largest blast furnaces for producing pig iron from iron ore. And enough ore has been staked out in one California desert quarry to run the largest mill in the state at full capacity for at least 40 years. Steel is the mother of industries, and U.S. Steel's tremendous investment in the great plants of its western subsidiary, Columbia Steel, is evidence that the West is no longer a colonial outpost of the East. Bethlehem Pacific Steel, another giant in the steel industry, is firmly established in California with expansive mills and shipyards. The big names of the electrical industry are boldly expanding. Westinghouse is producing electrical products never before made in the West, while General Electric has long operated its Ontario, California plant to produce its electric irons for the entire nation and the world. 14 different makes of automobiles are now manufactured and assembled in California. The same number is produced in Detroit. A car a minute matches the best assembly line tempo and know-how of the East. Los Angeles ranks second only to Akron in tire manufacturing, with almost every big name in the industry represented. Together, they produce more than 14 million tires a year, most of them for travel-minded Westerners. The building materials industry, taxed to the limit by the demands of the increasing population, is expanding its facilities beyond recognition. The Permanente Cement Works cover an area a mile square and is the world's largest, producing more than a sack per second. Its giant revolving furnaces use more natural gas than the city of Oakland. Los Angeles is already running close to Grand Rapids for first place in the manufacture of furniture. While San Francisco ranks among the first spice, tea, and coffee ports of the world. California has long led the nation in the building of aircraft. One of the largest and most glamorous industries, it suffered fantastic cutbacks just after the war. But now, the great plants at San Diego, Burbank, and Santa Monica are operating on a long-range production schedule, producing planes for peace, as well as the mysterious jet-propelled weapons of space made to preserve the peace. Hollywood's motion picture industry rocketed into one of the world's biggest business enterprises, beckoning thousands with stars in their eyes. Radio, too, boomed into big business with almost as many national programs originating in Hollywood as in New York. California's press boasts one of the largest readerships in the nation and has long been the state's most enthusiastic booster. So great is the growing importance of Western readers that two of the nation's leading weekly periodicals use the ultra-modern facilities of the West's largest press in Los Angeles to print West Coast editions. Not the least by any means of California's new industrial expansion is the tremendous growth of its clothing industry. San Francisco has its own apparel city. While Los Angeles is first in the nation for its sport styles. The enterprise and taste of manufacturers like Kohl of California are rapidly diminishing the lead once held by New York's clothing industry. The highly prized California look is becoming a must all over the country and can be recognized without even a glance at the label. The strength of California's industries lies in the great financial houses of the West. In their boardrooms along Montgomery Street in San Francisco and in the stock exchange on Spring Street in Los Angeles, decisions are made daily that influence the future of California and the entire Pacific world. The nation's most overtaxed communication system struggles frantically to keep up with the demands of this new, growing industrial empire and at the same time add service for thousands of new homes every day. Public transportation systems, too, are seriously outgrown. More than 4 million cars are roaring over streets and highways built for only 500,000. Los Angeles, the city of magnificent distances, tackled the problem with typical Hollywood disregard for cost or effort and slashed boldly through residential and business areas to construct urgently needed speedways. The state highway construction program is staggering in its scope, requiring an expenditure of $75 million a year for the next 10 years. In spite of all the problems and growing pains, the sinews of a new and sound industrial empire are being forged by Californians who realize the magnitude of their undertaking and the possibilities of their future. Theirs is the gigantic task of using and developing wisely their vast natural resources. some of which, like oil, have already been dangerously depleted. Unless more new discoveries are made, the state and the West may face a serious oil shortage. The forests of Northern California are vast and beautiful. They, with the timber of neighboring states in the Northwest, provide nearly half the nation's lumber. Lumbermen, aware of the dangers of depletion and conscious of waste in the past, are making every effort through reforestation and conservation to assure sufficient timber for the future. Like other natural resources, water power, the backbone of industry, is inexhaustible in California. It needs only to be harnessed. Work is in progress on private and federal projects all over the state in an attempt to meet the demands for power for this and future generations. The penstocks of the government's Shasta Dam send the waters of the Sacramento River through giant dynamos capable of producing enough power for not one, but several major cities. San Francisco engineers added a new lake to the map in the heart of Yosemite when they built Hetch Hetchy Dam to supply their city with water and power. And thirsty Los Angeles reached up 175 miles in the High Sierra to take the entire Owens River water supply. Water is the very lifeblood of California's richest industry, agriculture. The lack of water for irrigation and city water systems is the state's greatest problem. The federal government, recognizing the urgency of this problem and the importance to the nation of its solution, has built great dams like Shasta, Hoover, Davis, and Parker. But these are only part of a master plan for water conservation for California and the West. The Friant Dam stores the cold waters of the San Joaquin at the base of the High Sierra. Waters which are diverted and sent south through a man-made river to parched but fertile areas in Fresno, Tulare, and Kern counties, where eventually 500,000 new acres will be brought under cultivation. To replace the diverted waters of the San Joaquin, the world's largest pumping plant will force the waters of the Sacramento, stored 300 miles to the north by Shasta Dam, uphill 200 feet through giant aqueducts. From here, it will flow 120 miles south through another man-made river to complete the great exchange of waters between two rivers. Thus, the work of man is dramatically balancing the unequal distribution of land and water which nature has imposed on California's Central Valley, assuring its future as a land of great promise. Far to the south, along the Mexican border, the All-American Canal winds through the Sahara-like sand dunes of the Great American Desert. It pours millions of tons of Colorado River water onto the floor of the once desolate Imperial Valley, turning it into the nation's biggest vegetable garden. So hot and so fertile, it produces one crop after another the year round. The valley is one of the largest beet sugar producing centers in the country. And to the north, just back of the coast, are the wide acres of the Salinas Valley, famed as the salad bowl of America, producing millions of tons of lettuce, celery, and artichokes. California also boasts the biggest strawberry patches in the nation, producing the finest berries. And flowers, flowers for seeds. Acres upon acres of them are big business in the Golden State. California holds another first in the production of olive oil and in the processing of table olives. And its famed avocados from San Diego County have changed the salad tastes of the nation. Golden oranges are the symbol of California in every American home. Millions of crates of California oranges and lemons make a major contribution to the health of the nation and to the wealth of California. The thousands of acres of rice fields in the upper Sacramento Valley are reminiscent of the rice paddies of Asia. Believe it or not, is the fact that millions of pounds of rice are shipped annually to the rice-hungry Orient. Ultra-modern methods of rice and cotton culture have boosted California high on the list of states producing these two deep south crops. The good wines from the extensive vineyards of Cucamonga and the San Joaquin and northern valleys are receiving international acclaim. California's wines, competing with the world's finest in Paris and London, have won the highest honors for their quality and excellence. The produce of California's soil is colorful, varied, and abundant. Processing the vast variety of food that pours from the state's rich horn of plenty is the world's largest fruit and vegetable canning industry, canning familiar brands known in every American home and in the ports of the 7 seas. Serving this great industry are the world's largest tin can plants in San Francisco and Los Angeles. And big Eastern glass manufacturers long ago joined the trek westward to supply California's demands for glass containers. The abundant harvest of the sea off the coast supports an important part of this vast food processing enterprise. California is first among the fishing states in the Union, accounting for all the nation's sardine pack. And almost 90% of the nation's tuna are packed in San Diego. The meatpacking industry of California, long an unimportant stepchild of the big Chicago and Kansas City packers, is growing up. Livestock, once shipped east from the great grazing states, is being shipped to Los Angeles packing houses. California is one of the most important poultry-producing states in the nation. The poultry farms of Petaluma and other egg basket areas are a major enterprise, scientifically operated. And turkey growing, too, holds an important place in the state's agricultural economy. Sheep ranches in the north are justly proud of their production record, which has made California the 4th wool-producing state in the country. Only a few of the big, colorful cattle ranches with cowboys are left to lend a flavor of the Old West to growing California. Yet, the state's production of beef is increasing in quantity and quality as a result of modern methods of breeding, fattening on smaller farms. But Her Majesty the dairy cow is California's #1 citizen in the livestock world. Because of the sunshine and ideal conditions on its dairy farms, California cows produce more milk than cows in any other part of the nation. Dairymen are proud of their carefully bred herds and of the standards which they rigidly maintain in handling milk, in spite of the increased demands imposed on them by the great influx of consumers into the state. The high costs of feeding forced them to decrease their number of cows, while at the same time, more milk was needed. California dairymen solved the problem by taking the lead in scientifically feeding and handling nature's delicate milk factory to increase her production. The dairy industry is a public service industry. A 7-day-a-week, round-the-clock job. It, like other overtaxed service industries, is expanding to meet the needs of the increased population. At the same time, it's looking out beyond the Pacific to the needs of the hungry peoples of the world, manufacturing evaporated milk of quality second to none. As well as being high on the list of exports from the state, California canned milk is a familiar item on grocers' shelves throughout the West. Scientists in the highly advanced laboratories of the Golden State Company Limited, California's largest milk concern, are constantly working to improve the quality of all milk and milk products. And they have perfected new methods of producing powdered whole milk, methods that are in dramatic use in the world's largest dried milk plants. The year-round mild climate of California has always created a heavy demand for ice cream, a demand which has made it possible for the industry to develop new and better methods of production. One Golden State plant alone is equipped to make 6 million gallons a year of America's favorite dessert. The great efforts of the milk industry to meet its problems has assured every grocery store and every home the visit of the familiar, friendly figure of the milkman. The man whose industry is aiding in the building of the health and well-being of this and future generations. Californians, challenged by the big events that are shaping their destiny, will tell you of their daring plans for tomorrow. They'll tell you of their plans for the expansion of their ports, based on their belief that the Pacific Ocean is the world's next great pool of trade and commerce. San Franciscans will tell you of their World Trade Center that will rise along the Embarcadero, a $50 million monument to their faith in the future of California, and the future out beyond the Golden Gate. Beyond the great ports of Oakland, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and San Diego. The people of California sense the important role they will continue to play in the development of the whole Pacific world. They are ready for the immense volume of foreign trade, which they are confident will come with increasing momentum as the Philippines, Indonesia, China, and all Asia begin to find their rightful place in this new era of the Pacific. So what of the future of the Golden State? It sounds like epic poetry to hear hard-headed businessmen, not given to empty dreams, describe the cities and towns and farms and way of life their children and children's children will see and enjoy in the California of tomorrow. The California that will play a leading role in the century of the Pacific.